Ohayo gozaimasu. Well, good morning, lovelies. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to do a bit of a quick sort of Q&A video for you today, all about what it's like to be a foreigner here in Tokyo, just because that is probably the most common question I get. If you're new to my channel, I'll give you a very brief sort of history of my experience here. I started coming here when I was 15 years old for kind of shorter stints of like 2 months or so for like modeling contracts. And then when I was 20, I came here for a much longer sort of stint of almost of about a year. And now I am back at 25 and I have been here for almost 3 months. And it has been absolutely magical. Got dressed up especially for the occasion today. I'm wearing my Aurora sweatshirt that I got from Harajuku, which is super kawaii. Yeah, I basically just compiled all the most common questions that I usually get from you guys on like YouTube and Instagram. So if you're not already following me on those channels, please do so. But yeah, let's just jump straight into it with the first question kind of being the most obvious, and that is, what is Tokyo like? Now, I don't have a crazy amount of experience of traveling all around Japan, but especially this time that I've been here, I've definitely gone to like a lot of cities outside of Tokyo, went to like the countryside and things like that. So for sure say that Tokyo is definitely its own entity in compared to the rest of Japan. It's just totally different. But strangely enough, it's actually pretty difficult to define in and of itself, just because in many ways, like, I think of it as the future, you know, on steroids, you could say, just a lightning fast moving sort of city with like the most crazy pop culture, but at the same time it is super conservative, it is very traditional in many ways. Other things to mention is that it is super clean, so ridiculously super clean. Like, there is no garbage all over the streets, which actually makes absolutely no sense because they have no garbage cans anywhere. It's like you have to carry your garbage around all day, or like pop into a convenience or something and like pray to God that they have a garbage, because they don't have next to any like outdoor trash cans. But even more importantly, it is super safe, which is probably one of my absolute favorite things about it. Coming here at 15 and, you know, staying out all night, you know, on the back streets of Roppongi and some super seedy clubs, I honestly never really had that many issues. The scariest thing that actually happened to me was because of this super creepy American guy, but that's a whole other story. But as far as just like Japan and Japanese people, like, I haven't had any really, you know, outlandish sort of issues, and I just love the fact that I can walk all around the city and, you know, not have to worry about, you know, where I go or, you know, just people around me or anything like that. And even just leaving my stuff. Like, I've had so many moments where I've like forgotten my bag, or once I remember leaving my portfolio and not remembering until like half an hour later, and I went back to the place that I thought I had left it and it was still there. So just those kinds of things alone make it so amazing. Question number 2, what are Japanese people like? So I will say that the essence of a city is usually defined by its people. Prior sort of description of Tokyo being, you know, a very conservative, but at the same time, like, really, you know, fun and really hip and really unique sort of place really correlates to the people as well. I really love their energy here and just their sort of, you know, unique approach to everything, and just how much respect they have for each other and foreigners as well, obviously. Like, I can't even count the amount of times that somebody has gone like above and beyond in helping me, you know, figure something out, or helping me when I get lost. Like, I remember the first time that I came here to Tokyo, and my first day when I was supposed to go to the agency, and like, this was before, you know, we had smartphones and Google Maps and all this kind of stuff, so I just had this like hand-drawn map and I had to, you know, find the agency that way, and I was just like totally lost. I had no idea where I was, and I didn't want to make a bad first impression and, you know, be late to my first day. So I just stopped this like little old lady on the street who definitely did not speak English, and I was like, you know, can you please show me where I am even, or like which direction to go, you know, just like trying to make her understand. And she was so beyond sweet, where she like took me by the hand and actually walked me to the agency. Like, I was almost in tears because I was like, thank you so much. Like, I was just so scared and, you know, felt so anxious at that point. So to just have like somebody care and to really like go out of their way and helped me make a first good impression and stuff was so sweet and so kind. And yeah, like I said, like that is not a rare sort of occurrence. Like, I had so many people do that for me, where they would just totally go out of their way to, you know, help me with whatever I asked. Number 3, do you get treated differently because you're a foreigner? It really just kind of depends on what fitting in means to you. Like, it's really a personal perspective, because like, let's just be honest, with Japan not being a super multicultural sort of country with a whole bunch of different ethnicities living here, just because their immigration policy is a whole lot more limited than, let's say, like somewhere like Canada, you know, of course, like being a gaijin, like, you definitely stand out. I mean, unless you're living in, you know, one of the most multicultural first world sort of cities, like, you know, Toronto or like New York or Paris or whatever, where it really is, you know, a hot pot of a whole bunch of different cultures. The majority of cities in the world usually aren't at all, you know, like that. The foundation of the population is the families that have been there for centuries, and that makes up the bulk of the population. So if, you know, you're not from there, of course you're going to stand out. Of course, you know, you might not feel like you fit in 100% as somebody who grew up there. Of course, when I like travel to some of the like smaller regions in Japan where they don't get a whole lot of, you know, foreigners going there, you are treated like a bit of a circus attraction, but, you know, I don't take it in like a weird negative way. It's just like, you know, they're just kind of fascinated by seeing a gaijin and, you know, asking you a whole bunch of questions about your home country and stuff like that. And, you know, they're still super kind, they're really polite, and, you know, I don't take any offense to it whatsoever. Number 4, is it difficult getting a job in Japan as a foreigner? This question is obviously quite dependent on what it is you want to do in Tokyo and what kind of, you know, credentials you have behind you. Now, in my scenario, working in the entertainment industry, obviously that's its own kind of bubble, and it can be a little bit difficult initially to get your foot in the door, but if you do have the kind of look that works well here and you understand kind of how the market works here and network properly and just, you know, understand how things work here, you can do really well for yourself. Now, as far as other jobs go here in Japan, the most common for foreigners is obviously teaching English. As far as I understand, like, you don't even have to be like, you know, an English teacher in North America or wherever you come from. Of course, that helps and will, you know, probably help your placement in a school or in one of the better like private sort of companies. There are a whole bunch of people teaching English here just after getting the TSL certificate. I could be totally wrong of that being the name, but I do know that there's just a specific sort of certification you can get to teach English overseas, and that's one of their main requirements. And the last question for this Q&A, since it is getting a bit dark out, is would you ever live permanently in Tokyo? To be honest, at this point, probably not, just because there's not really anywhere in the world that I would say that I'm 100% comfortable with living for the rest of my life. I really do want to live all over the world. I want to have, you know, different homes in different cities that I love and, you know, do whatever it is I want to do all around the world and be a sort of multinational citizen. So if that qualifies as me living permanently in Japan, as in like having an apartment or something here, then absolutely. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned a little bit about Japan, and if you were on the fence about whether to come here for work or for a vacation, I hope this maybe inspired you to make it happen, because it really is such a magical place, and it really is the top place that you can go to have like culture shock in a first world country. Like Tokyo, I mean, in and of itself is really like no place else, and it is an adventure 100% of the time, especially when you're first coming here and have no idea how anything works or why things are the way they are. I find it quite funny that now that I've been here so long, some really crazy or weird stuff will happen, and it's like I won't even like think twice about it. I won't even blink at it because like it's just so normal. Whereas like when I tell my parents, oh, you know, this happened today, or you know, they see my pictures or something on Instagram of like all the crazy stuff that I find here and stuff, and like for them that's so weird, but for me it's like totally normal. It's like, why wouldn't the toilet talk to me? Why wouldn't somebody be walking their pet monkey on a leash? Like, that's totally normal. Yeah, please comment down below if you guys have been to Japan and any of the interesting experiences that you've had. And if you have any other questions for me about being in Japan, I will definitely try and do a second Q&A video because I know this one just barely scratched the surface. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to this channel if you already haven't. And until I see you guys next time, keep being your own kind of beautiful, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys. You know, requires you to speak some Japanese and you don't, definitely your best bet is to learn English. Specific career field, you know, is either unavailable or they require you to speak English. Oh my god. You are looking to come to Japan and